I'm gonna back up for a second. Hopefully you can hear before move up to the truck. It's the W463 G500. You can hear the idle is blah, 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 lumpy. No check engine light. Pop the hood, checking for vacuum leaks and stuff like that. But anyway, I pulled the intake off, the air cleaner, the MAF sensor, and the connector that goes into the throttle body. And you can hear a weird, when I go up there, you'll hear a weird rattling down from the throttle body. And so I put my hand down there, I can feel the throttle body actually vibrating back and forth, which is causing the lumpy idle. Now you can't, I don't know, I'm going to try and stick you in there and see if you can see it vibrating. Well, 1 second, I got to turn my light on. I'm going to turn the flashlight on. 1 second. Okay, so maybe you'll be able to see this. Ow! Just rested my arm against the EGR. That's hot, by the way. This pipe right here, this one, yeah, no touchy while doing that. Something's making it vibrate. I'm going to push it in. Now it's idling a lot smoother. I just cut it by closing it. Okay. So either it is the throttle body, the electronic throttle body is bad, or something is sending it the signal to vibrate. So what? Yeah, off radio. I'm going to do the, oh, I have a malfunction now. It's actually showing. Let's see if we can see that. No malfunction. Okay. So it was just me pulling that. So I'm going to leave the key in the ignition on position for about 5 minutes, and hopefully the electronic throttle will reset. Don't know why it would have gotten non-reset. But by just turning the ignition key on, leaving it for 5 minutes, I better shut off all the lights and stuff because it could drain the battery. Turn off the fan. But it should be able to reset itself. So what it's going to do is find idle again, hopefully. Yeah, it's really noisy down there. It's possible there is a leak through the throttle shaft. Excuse me, I'm still getting over a cold. But there's an intake leak, an air leak, slight air leak through the throttle butterfly shaft, the one that goes from side to side and holds that flap open. Actually, 1 second, I'm going to grab another throttle body that I have in the garage, a good one. Good throttle body that I have. I don't even know if that one's bad. That's the electrical connector. There's a possibility it's the electrical connector, so I'm going to check that. Excuse me again, this throat from the cold. That's about the same noise. But that's what I'm hearing clicking in there. So something's causing it to not know, to keep jumping back and forth. So hopefully there's just the idle reset. I'm wondering if it couldn't be the MAF as well though, because I pulled that MAF sensor off and it did not care. Car didn't make a difference with the MAF sensor off. So this is the part that connects underneath the throttle body. This is like the 90-degree turn that it makes. This clips onto the throttle body. Possibly this rubber ring in here. But I don't think so. That rubber is. I'm going to silicone that to make sure it's nice and pliable. Don't ever put a lot of silicone on something like that. Just to spray and then wipe it off, because silicone doesn't burn, and if it gets sucked into your engine, you don't want silicone in your engine. Never want that. But I think that's okay. I'm wondering if it's not the MAF. is this, again, did absolutely squat when I pulled it off the car. As if it wasn't even reading the math. I didn't unhook it, I just pulled the whole thing off. So I was hearing this chattering down there. And then this thing is the little lock collar that holds the top of this in place. And so anyway, when you put one of these in, you slide it in from the bottom. There's a little tab here that releases. So when you're pulling it out, you push down this little tab, slide it out. And this goes on the top to lock in, and this locks in the bottom. That's all that's holding it onto your throttle body. So, can you hear that whine? So when I'm pushing on it, it's whining. It should be trying to find its base idle. The closed position that's slightly open to allow air to go through, because there's, as far as I know, there's not an intake, an idle air bypass valve on these. Let me look at this other one. Sorry, garage is a complete mess. We had a leak in the basement the other day during last week during a ridiculous rainstorm. And yeah, fun. There is no idle air bypass on this. It's just the air getting past the system, through the system. So if there's, you see light through there? That's the air that gets through. That is the idle speed. So it's got to find where it's supposed to be, where it's supposed to be closed so it will idle properly. So that should take about 5 minutes, and then we're going to restart this and we'll see what happens. Okay, so when I ran a diagnostic scan, hey, stop. The purge control valve is the only thing that came up, which it basically just purges when you first start your car, and every once in a while you hear a ticking, a really rapid ticking under the engine of under the hood of most Mercedes. And it's this little valve, depending on your car. Most of them are up here on the front, and it just constantly makes that ticking, vibrating. And this, get out of the mount. This is the purge control valve here, and this basically just takes evaporative gases, gasoline evaporation from the fuel tank, and instead of allowing them to evaporate to the atmosphere, it purges them into the engine. And this thing, I did not hear it ticking, so it's possible, but I can't see how that would make such a big difference to it running. But here's the thing. When I first took the air cleaner assembly, before I pulled the MAF off, before I pulled anything else out, I took some propane, just took a propane torch, turned it on, didn't ignite it, obviously you don't light it, and held it up to the MAF to allow some more flammable gases to go through, and the idle immediately smoothed out. So it's more than likely my purge control valve. I didn't realize that the purge control valve was that important, maybe on a Mercedes or more than other cars. Most cars, when you have a purge control valve problem, it doesn't even cause an idle or running issue. But this one, it seems to. So we'll see if that's it. We'll see if this throttle reset works. I'm just going to actually start the car now. It's been about 4 or 5 minutes. So it should have relearned idle. So we're going to start it. Is that ticking? Not the normal valve ticking normal sound, but the... You hear that pop, 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 pop? That is the throttle plate vibrating. I'm going to show you it again. Shouldn't be doing that. So it's possible that purge control valve is the issue. I do not have a purge control valve. I don't think I have one. Anyway, I'm going to hook all this stuff back up, and I'll show you adding the propane to show you how it smooths out. We'll be back in a few minutes once I put all this stuff back on. Okay, so I've got the manifold connector here back on the elbow that the MAF connects to. And I just wanted to show you before I did this. This is the purge control valve. This is where it takes in the fumes and puts them into the intake, the throttle valve right here, the throttle actuator. So this is just a rubber hose that should pop straight up. Just trying not to burn myself on the EGR. See, there you go. Blue nipple goes in down into there. That should pop in nicely. And now we have, I put a tiny little bit of lubrication on the rubber collar where it plugged into the throttle actuator. So now this is the MAF, and you can see there's a little square piece here that attaches, clips into that little plastic piece in the back, or plastic metal piece. Okay, I'm gonna stick you down into there. And clip that on. Is that securely in there? Yes, it is. Okay. Now this little sweetheart goes around the MAF. And trust me, this is a fun thing to get on properly again. And what it does is these two little clips here, that clip and this clip, they lock onto these two aluminum fingers on the manifold. See the manifold top there? Right there. It's got a little lip, and these suckers lock onto that lip. This is a holder for this PCV hose. It goes, wraps under there and holds it up. And these things are a bastard to get on and off at times, like a real bugger. So this, see this clips together there? That will clip together and lock these two fingers to those two metal tabs. So they go in and then lock together to hold the MAF from moving around. And people always break these things taking them off. Always, always, always break them taking them off. Just stick a screwdriver in there, and you can't do it one-handed, but you stick a screwdriver, a flat-headed screwdriver in there and kind of bend it that way and pull it out. And I'm just going to stick this back on and hold it on, and then we'll start the engine and I'll show you what the propane does, the effect of the propane on it, which is why I now think it is that purge control valve. Hold on one second. Okay, so now this clip is back on. You can see that this arm, you can hardly see it. See where it goes? Let me grab a screwdriver so I can point for you. See that little metal finger is being grabbed by this, and the same on the other side, which is hard to see because, yeah, the purge valve hose is in the way. Same thing on that side. You can see it right behind. And then the two halves clip together there. You usually have to grab them with a pair of needle nose pliers and squeeze them together at the end to clip on. So anyway, that's on there now. I'm going to show you two things. So first we're going to stay there. First we're going to start the car. Nothing's sitting up there that's going to fall into the engine. No. Stay. So let's start this. Still running rough. Now I've turned the propane torch on. We're going to add the equivalent of what that purge valve would add to the engine, just by turn it on now. There we go. Did that idle smooth out? Off. Smoothed out. That little white spot is from the cold temperature. The propane is very cold when it goes in, so it makes a little bit of ice. Now that's not the exact amount of gas getting in there that the purge valve would allow in, so it's not the same, but it's relatively close, which can give me an idea that it's likely that purge valve, which is still not ticking and clicking. Now, let's shut this off. And I'll grab the key for the ML and I can show you what a working purge valve looks like. One second. Now this isn't gonna sound nice, but the ML is kind of like, if you're a guy, that girl in high school. If you're a girl, that guy in high school, who, no matter what, how bad you treated them or whatever, would always run to save you or do anything for you. Yeah, that's the ML. It just never dies. Let's pop the hood. And I'll show you the purge valve, and then we'll start it up and I'll show you it ticking when it starts. Okay, where's the purge valve? In the ML, right there. Okay. So we're gonna start it up and you should hear that ticking. On your car, it's more than likely up here in the front fender somewhere. But it's that thing that ticks annoyingly when you first start the car, or every once in a while it starts ticking. So let's start this. Of course, it has to get to a certain temperature before it starts ticking. I think it has to be warmed up before it does, actually. Anyway, I won't make you guys wait for this to pump. So you've got the two things that are always making the noise under your hood: your air pump when you first start it, or every once in a while just comes on to add extra air into the intake system. And this ticking little purge valve. Is this a special connector? I could always swap this one. I don't know if it's the same as the one on the G-Wagon. It should be. Why would it be different? An M112 engine in that, M113 in this. They use most of the same parts. Is this the same purge valve? No, this is slightly different. It's got two clamp-on hoses, one on either side. So two things could be wrong. Either the purge valve is bad, or whatever's signaling the purge valve to go is bad. Hopefully it's the purge valve. That's easy. Let's see if this one's going. It's only -1 today, so it's not that bad. Come on, start to tick. Don't prove me wrong. Oh, here, you can hear it. Tick, 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 tick. Let me unhook it. Okay, went away. Now I hear it ticking. It's like a little solenoid pumping the gas fumes from the gas tank from the fuel system in. So, well, unhooking it should cause the same thing on the on this engine, shouldn't it? I would think. Or does it take a while? Having it unhooked does not make this thing run bad. Huh. Don't know. Again, it was a theory. Old Faithful. I'll have to do some research and find out what actually activates that purge valve, and if that purge valve could be it. More tests to follow. It's it's getting dark out. Yay! Ooh, moon. The fun of working in the winter outside. Anyway, I'll follow up on this tomorrow once I know more. I'll just post this video up so you can see if anyone has the same type of issue. Let me know. It's also that funky noise, that rattling noise of the throttle body there, the rattling of the butterfly. Now that could be caused by a lot of things. It could be back pressure through the exhaust. It could be a failed spark in one of the cylinders, but when I did a test, I ran all the test parameters. I checked for spark, checked for fuel. Everything was fine according to the computer. I was leaving something. It could be a catalytic converter. Ugh, no, please no. Not sure at the moment. I haven't found a vacuum leak yet. I don't have a hose for my smoke detector, but I don't think it's a vacuum leak. I have a feeling it's this. This isn't even coming on. So yeah, let's just go the easy stuff first. Whatever's quickest and easiest, which is this at the moment. This purge control valve, let's get rid of that and try that first. Easy things off the list first. Why do anything hard and expensive when you can check the easy stuff first? Anyway, I'll let you know what I find.